So welcome back.
Thank you.
Few times on the podcast already, but first time in the new home.
Yeah, looking really, really nice.
What do you think? Good?
Yeah.
So what we're going to do today is HYROX Glasgow is in 5 weeks' time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were going to jump in that bandwagon first and foremost.
Well, that's like you said, the algorithm's happening now.
Absolutely, so we might as well take advantage of it.
Get on it.
But we aim to provide some real useful tips. So what we're going to do today in this podcast is talk through right from the week of the race all the way through to the prep, to starting there, all the way through to the end. With the goal of giving people really useful tips that's going to make a difference. So if it's your first time doing HYROX, it's probably really useful to understand what's ahead of you, what's coming, try and avoid some of the common pitfalls. If you're a professional HYROX person, have done it a few times, you might pick something up that shaves a couple of seconds off your personal best. But I think one of the most important things where this advice is coming from, it's hard-fought advice, because this is your fourth time doing it now.
Yeah, this will be my fourth time. And with that being said, I have done a lot of self-research. I've looked at it from every angle that I could possibly look at, how I can benefit, what I can do differently, and that has come down to now what I have put into my programs for myself and my clients that are going to be doing HYROX. And I think that's what I actually wanted to touch base on. You said, even if you're a pro, some people have done this copious amounts of times, but that does not give any less of what I'm about to say, just because you might have done it a lot more. I've now done a little bit of research, might have seen something that you might have not looked into, and it can be as intricate as maybe the actual training regimen before the HYROX, what you do, how you can stop certain things from happening.
So you've got a real bee in your bonnet at the moment about your own performance.
Yeah.
Within this. So you're doing, is pro?
Yeah, I'm going to be doing pro for the second time.
Mm-hmm. So through conversations, I know that you weren't so happy with your first attempt on it, although your timing was reasonable, but from a personal point of view, you thought you could have done better. So what's changed, do you think, between the last time you trained for that event and what you're doing just now?
Well, I think I come from the fight game, so I don't like complaining when I'm injured, but I was injured then. So I never had the physio that I have now. I never had the recovery setting that I have now. That is probably the biggest, because now I can actually do what I want in my training program. Whereas prior, I had to be very careful what I did. If I did like 25 wall balls and then try to go for a run, my lower back would just seize up. That was before the last pro. And that was about a week prior to the event that I was dealing with that. Mm-hmm. So going into that event, I already knew it. I was like, hey, let me engage more with my family when I'm running past them. That's why I was giving my son fist pumps. I made it a little bit more fun for myself.
Because you knew, basically, you knew.
Well, yeah, there's no point in me pushing the pace when halfway through my lower back could have seized up, and then there's just no finish. Point. Yeah.
You do seem to be focusing a lot more on your recovery this time as well.
Oh, yeah. Again, I think when you're under 30, it's a different ball game. Recovery? What recovery? Whereas now, you just have to be a little bit more mindful. Like, your body does start to take a bit of beating through the training session. So you have to be extremely mindful of the process in which your body takes to actually recover from certain training. And when you got a precise program that you're rolling out, you are going to be feeling sore. You're going to have to do things prior, which is the mobility drills, the warm-up correctly, and then you have to do things after, which is the static stretching, making sure that you're feeling good. So when the next day comes, you're ready to go.
You're good to go again. So, first question from me. This is I've said this is going to be a lot of advice from you, not from me, clearly.
Yeah.
I've got.
Sorry, Danny. I thought the other way around.
So, first question from me. So, you've signed up for HYROX maybe last year, and it's 5 weeks away now, and you haven't really trained.
Okay.
I know it all depends on what your base fitness level is, but can it still be done at this time?
100%. I've said this to many people that are stressing about completing a HYROX, and it all comes down to your wants or your expectation of the time that you're going to be finishing it in. you're not going to get chased off the track, especially if you've got a baseline. If you've got any baseline fitness, you will be able to complete a HYROX. That's what I like about it. And I've said it, I think, before. I think I said it in a prior HYROX. It's there for the average person to complete. So 5 weeks is more than enough time to get prepped to complete it. Whether or not it's in the time that you had hoped for, that's the other question.
It's what's your goals, isn't it?
Yeah. Because 5 weeks, if you haven't actually done a lot of hard graft, please don't think that you're going to go there and get a really decent time. You should have done at least something towards this HYROX process. But it is doable. It's 8 kilometers of running. If you take your time in between the exercises, it is doable.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So the week before the race, often very overlooked for people who are wanting to really have a strong time or improve their time. So breaking that week down, should you do a full run through of HYROX as close to the event as that? So the week before, should you have done all your full run throughs prior to that? Yeah,
so I would say in that week, if you've got time to train, if you've got a 2-hour, 3-hour session at hand, even 4 to 5 days prior to the event, if you want to go on a very light run through of everything, just focusing on the movement, be confident with the transitions, so be it. That's not going to affect you. It's the energy that you actually put out into the training that's going to be the problem, or it's going to benefit you. And what I mean by that is if you go, all out the week of in a training session, now your body's in the recovery state. And that's what I love about these watches and all of that. It actually can help you now with all of that. Is that week, everything needs to be done already. Same as the fight. And I've taken now, and this is what I was discussing with you, I've taken now what I was doing within the fight game, and I've now put the same energy into that. And that's the preparation. So the week of, you should have done everything. Everything that you think that you needed to work on should have already been done. What you can do is go through the movements, get a little bit of sweat going, but you're not exerting yourself.
Yeah, so don't lie on the couch.
Yeah. Don't lie. You need to keep yourself moving.
And don't run a marathon.
Yeah, and the reason why we actually don't exert our energy, and I know you're probably going to go into it, is this whole carbo loading and the whole idea of the glycogen levels. So that's what carbo loading is.
So
I know you're going to ask that, but that's the whole reason also why we don't exert ourselves.
Yeah. But there's two sides to carb loading. A lot of people think it's a load of shit, and a lot of people swear by it. So where are you on that fence?
Well, scientifically, where do we get our energy from? Our primary source?
Mars bars.
Mars bars. No, well, it's carbs.
Yeah.
So that's the whole terminology of carbo loading. It's glycogen levels in our body. So we eat more carbohydrates, so we load the carbs on, and that then gets stored within us. And then when our body needs it, and it's going to need a lot of it in the HYROX, and that's when it gets transferred into glucose, and that's what our body then uses.
I take it when you say carbs, you don't mean like a garlic naan and some pizza?
No, it needs to be clean carbs. Your potatoes, your sweet potatoes, your rice, not deep fried chips. Well, sorry, you guys call them fries. That's just we call chips for everything.
No, chips. Chips.
Okay.
It depends. A chip is a cooked potato hot. A crisp is probably a chip.
Chip. Anything that's potato.
No.
And it's either shaped as a chip or a crisp, like you would say. That's a chip to me. Chip.
So a crisp is the ones you get out of the bag,
yes.
like a Walker's thing.
Yeah, a chip. That's a packet of chips for me.
A chip is what you get from the chippy.
Yeah, that's a packet of chips, and then
you South African.
Simplicity
and confusion. So on the day itself, what's the best advice you can give in the lead up to the event? What should you do in terms of a morning breakfast or liquid intake, or just do what makes you feel good? Do
what you have trained to do. A lot of people might get a bit nervous and either eat more. Again, your carbo loading should have already been happening 4 or 5 days prior to the event. So everything needs to stay as similar to what you trained. So don't now do anything new. you should have already been practicing certain things. Okay, wake up at a certain time. I already know my time for HYROX is going to be between 7. Okay, that's my normal day. I train in the evening already. I am not going to change one thing about what my normal routine is currently, which is my oats in the morning, 4 boiled eggs, and I'm just going to, then my lunch, rice, chicken, whatever. And I'm just going to go, I might have a few more electrolytes, making sure that I've got the salt. Other than that, I keep everything as similar, because you don't want to now shock the body. The body's like, okay, this is different. And now you want to go now do something that's going to exert a whole lot of energy.
So when you turn up to the event itself, there's lots of people. These events are getting massive now.
Yeah.
There's lots of people looking for stuff for Instagram, posing. I guess for the new person, it can probably be a little bit intimidating, especially when you turn up. You see all these beautiful, ripped people who have maybe done it 3 or 4 times.
Thanks, Danny.
And the older gentlemen who are taking part in it. And you all see them. You see them walking about with big bags full of stuff.
No, not big bags. Built by athlete bags.
Built by athletes. That's what you need, isn't it? You need one of them if you're...
I haven't cracked one of those yet.
maybe this time.
They like Crocs.
Yeah.
I'm not buying them.
Don't underestimate Crocs. So, what's the best advice you can give for the actual turning up to the event? If it's your first time there and you're going through the process, what would you say to somebody?
Well, if they're going to go there with people, always have the spectators with you. Be as social as possible. You don't want to be in your head the whole time, quiet and trying to figure out. Because once you see everybody go, you're like, all right, doesn't matter what you are. Like I said, the last HYROX, I knew I was just doing it for fun. But you still get a little bit of those butterflies. You still get that excitement, adrenaline. So no, it doesn't matter if you're just doing it for fun. You still have that a bit of adrenaline. So just calm down, play your music. Don't look too much into everyone else. A lot of people are just focused on themselves anyway. So it's not really that much of a problem.
So we're getting close to the start of the event now. You're about to go into the start line. Do you recommend people have an overriding strategy about how they're going to approach the event in terms of pace, time, targets for each exercise, looking at your heart rate, or should you just go and have at it?
Yeah, so I always now stem back to the training, your program. This should have already been ironed out long before the day of. So like in a half marathon or marathon, if you're going for a personal best or you want to having a certain time, a lot of runners put their time per kilometer on their hands. They write it down. Within 5 kilometers, I want to be at this certain time. Same as for HYROX. You want to know what your pace is every lap, and you don't want to overdo that than what you've done in training already, because then you are going to exert yourself. See, your body only does what it is trained to do. So if you don't train well enough, and then you go and try run faster on the day, push faster, do everything better, bigger, you are going to burn out faster just because your body hasn't been used to that intensity before.
I guess there's a bit of experience here because you will have adrenaline, and adrenaline can carry you so far until it can't.
So that's that first one. Know what your pace is going to be.
Don't go off sprint.
And don't go off and sprint, especially that first one. Straight from the run into ski erg, which is both cardiovascular exercises, your heart rate's going to be up. So you don't want to now overdo it in the first run. Then the ski erg is also elevating your heart rate, but it's you just trying to breathe. It's going to be very uncomfortable for the first 2 exercises of the race. So
in terms of if someone's looking to really improve their time, so you get 2 camps, somebody who just wants to go and experience it and finish it, someone who's then looking to better a time because they've done it before, or somebody who's really serious about it. So they're the people going for. If you are looking to hit a target or better a time, there always has to be a one big win in any type of physical exercise where you'll see the biggest improvement. Where is that across the event? If you had to focus on one thing to try and get your time, what is that? Is it to burst a gut doing the burpees? Is it to pace yourself during the runs? What do you think the success to actually getting a fast time is?
This is actually probably one of the most asked questions within HYROX. What do we need to work on to actually get a better time? And it all comes down to running. It all comes down to the running. There's eight runs. There's only one other exercise in between that. So there's not 8 sled pushes. There's only one sled push. But there's 8 runs.
So each run's a kilometre.
Yeah.
So a really fast time of that would be kind of 3 minutes 30.
So the elite guys are running that at 3 minutes 30.
So 5 minutes, still relatively quick space.
Yeah, 100%. That would be...
And if you're a bit slower, like myself, when you're getting up to the 8, 9, 10 minutes for a kilometre, maybe a bit longer, I guess for that, you could maybe knock a minute off each run if you train for that.
Yeah. So, and then the other spectrum of this is when you're talking about exercises. Remember, if our run is feeling uncomfortable, put 100 times harder when you get to the exercise. Because if you're really fatiguing in the run and you're really feeling tired on the run, those exercises are there to make it feel harder. So, say for example, I'm absolutely gutted after the would it be the fourth run? It'll be the 4th run, just before burpee broad jumps. So I've now paced it. I've given it all. I get to the burpee broad jumps. My breathing's all over the place. My heart rate is sky high. Now I need to go down and up consistently. I won't be able to pace that. The only way, and this is now my opinion, and this is what I've been training now for, and come the 13th of March, I'm going to figure out if it's the right thing or not, is making sure that no matter what happens in the run, the workout isn't going to floor me to a point where I can't do that run again. And the only way I'm doing that is making sure that my runs are extremely hard now and going straight into the exercises, but running even faster than probably what I would on the day. So I'm really pacing that 1 kilometer, going straight into the exercise, and then back straight into a fast.
So what are you doing just now to basically overload yourself in those runs? Because HYROX is always quite a hard thing to simulate.
Yeah.
Because of all the equipment needed and the amount of space that is needed. So what are you doing? The runs are the most critical part. I guess if you make the run harder in your training, when you get to the day, it's easier. Yeah. So what are you doing for that?
I've picked one of the most brutal hills in my area, and it's 1 kilometer of incline.
That'll do it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I am going up there as fast as I can. Sitting at the moment at about 4 minutes, 10 seconds per kilometer.
Uphill.
Bloody
hell.
And trying to maintain that. So that's the thing as well, is like, okay, maybe I can do it once or twice, but can I do it a certain amount of times? And that's where the stamina, endurance is going to take place. Because no matter what's in between there, if I can just maintain a certain pace going up a hill, on the flat it will feel a lot easier.
So run up the hill,
and
jog back down.
Jog back down. As soon as you get back down to the bottom, you pace it back up again.
Go back up again.
You go back up again. So I think that's, never mind what I've added into my program, because I've added in 2 strength sessions. I've added in like endurance, cardiovascular push sessions. Never mind those. Those hills are, I think, going to be the ones that do it for me in terms of the ability to keep up to a certain pace on the run.
What do you think in terms of what's the one exercise? So taking the runs out, they're the most important. Yeah. What exercise do you think has the ability to make or break someone in HYROX? Is there a certain exercise where you see people fail at or it breaks them at that time? Do you think there's one thing that you should be really prepared for?
I think people underestimate the sled push.
Right.
Because you're running at a certain pace, you get to the sled push, and you might have a carpet that's a bit sticky on the sled. And with the excitement of it, people just want to push the full, because it's 4 lengths of 12.5 meters. What you're seeing even now with the elite guys is they're doing 6 meter push.
So even the elite guys stop, yeah?
They're stopping now, and this has become like the norm now. Like between halfway, they do about a 5 to 10 second wait, and then they go again. And again, that's just getting the oxygen back to those muscles. Because after that, lactic acid's going to build up quickly, because we're working those quads and legs in that push. So then when we go for a run, if the lactic acid has built up there, that run's going to feel horrendous. Which, again, the first time, I was not prepared for it. The first time, I was like, geez, this is what it feels like. Okay, I wasn't prepped for this. But again, now that I've done it 3 times, I know what that feeling is, and I'm trying to create the same stimulus in training.
And be comfortable with that feeling, I guess, isn't it? And say it'll pass and get your head around it. Okay, so about to start the event, having never done HYROX, never will. Okay, so I'm just putting that out there. You're on the start line. If you're looking for a good time, do you have to jostle for position?
Nah.
No, it's not.
No, there's no pushing. There's no like in between. You literally just go and you, again, just have fun. Mm-hmm. The track's wide enough to deal with pace. I think there's a fast lane and a slow lane. Okay. So like half, if you take the whole track, they halve it, and then the slow lanes on the right, fast lanes on the left. Just be mindful of people that are running fast. Go into the slow lane. Don't think that you're faster than what you are, because I think that's also what happens. I think people in their head, they're like, yeah, I'm quick. I'm quick, but nope, not happening. So just be mindful of that. And then, yeah.
So a big thing when you get to each station that a lot of people don't know until they do it is the transitions. So do the transitions count towards your time as well?
Yeah, so they call it the rock zone. Mm-hmm. So you go underneath the in arch. So on the week of the event, they tell you how many laps you're going to be doing. Sometimes it's 2.5, sometimes it's 3, but you just need to know how many laps you're on, and then you need to go in the in arch. As soon as you get in, there's a tracking system. You got obviously a track on your ankle.
Right. Okay.
That then says you're in the rock zone. Mm-hmm. From the rock zone to whatever event, it might be another 100 meters of running. So you've just done a K. You've got into the arch, but there might be another time that you might have to run all the way to Skierg, which is like another 100 meters maybe. You go into the Skierg area, and then you do it, and then you come out again 100 meters maybe to get on the out.
When you're in that rock zone, does your time stop? No. That
carries on. But what happens at the end of the event, you can tell how long you've been in that rock zone. So again, I've looked at everything for this upcoming event that I'm doing. I was in the rock zone. This is not in there, because when you get into, say, for example, where all the skiergs are, you go past with another tracking system. So that becomes its own entity time. So
you've got basically running
time, then you got rock zone and exercise, and that's where all the calculations come in. I was in rock zone for 6 minutes of the whole event.
Oh wow! Right, okay.
And that's what's nice, is you can break it down like that. Okay, so I was in there for 6 minutes. Bearing in mind, I was loving life there. I was having my water. I was chilling for a little bit.
So is that what people use that zone for? Just rehydration?
Yeah. So that's where all the water is and all of that.
And if you're getting to the pro level, what you're doing, what do they do in the rock zone? Are they just going through the rock zone like it's not there?
Yeah. So they take, obviously there's some, they'll grab the water, but they'll carry on running. They won't stop and actually have a drink. Mm-hmm. They'll grab the water.
Yeah, take some. What do you think about the use of these kind of electrolytes and energy
gels? Energy gels, yeah. So I haven't done it prior, but I obviously use them for my half marathons and stuff. So I'm definitely doing it for this event.
Are they there, or can you carry them with you?
You're not. Yeah. So you have to carry them on you. They won't have it there.
You can't no.
Spectators can't pass you anything.
So that's good for people to know. Isn't it?
You have to have it on you, or else you don't have them at all.
Right. Okay. Well, 6 minutes is a long time, isn't it?
And then you do the math. So bearing in mind, I did the last pro 117 again. My runs were sitting at about 440, and that's far from what I know I can do. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, 6 minutes of the 117, I was actually not even doing an exercise or running.
Yep.
I was busy sipping on water.
Catching your breath.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first exercise is Skierg.
Yep.
So when you turn up to the Skierg, do you ever have to queue for machines or anything like that, or are they always available?
No, they've got that under wraps comfortably now because of the heat system. So every 15 minutes, a new batch goes out.
So you don't need to worry about queuing for a machine.
Yeah, and what HYROX do is when you get your ticket, they ask, where do you think what's your time? What's your estimated time of finish? Mm-hmm. Obviously, the people that are sitting with like maybe over 2 hours, they're not going to put you in the first batch, because then
You're going to cause a jam.
quicker guys. So they'll put everyone that has said that they're going to be fast in the first heat.
Right. Okay. So you never turn up and there's not a machine available for you.
And the first event Glasgow ever did, I did myself and Colin did it in pairs. And after us, there was actually a waiting line for warballs.
Right.
Because they just obviously, again, it's a mulling out process of what works, what doesn't work, and they fixed it almost immediately.
Right, okay. So you get to HYROX, there's 1,000 videos on there on technique and what you can do, so we won't bother with that. Other people, there's an art to HYROXing, apparently. What do you think? What's the big win and what's a mistake on the HYROX?
Is trying to get too much range. And when I say that, is going into a squat position. HYROX is there that you can actually save your legs a little bit of like energy on that. So you do more of a hinge movement with your hips.
So when you feel a HYROX, at the top you feel the resistance.
Yeah.
So as soon as you stop feeling resistance, is that basically...
Yeah, just let go and then go back up. Just keep it where the resistance is, which is the first that down. Trying to do tricep extensions, not going to do anything. Mm-hmm. So just keep it simple, right in front of you. Hinge movement with the hips and aim for away.
And what are you aiming for time-wise on a HYROX if you get there?
I really don't put too much pressure on that because I know more or less I'm always around the 4-minute mark. So I'm happy, but that's comfortable. I'm just trying to get my energy, breath back so when I go for the run again.
So you're actually trying to recover?
Yeah.
On the exercise.
So because I know when the sled push comes, that's the difference.
Okay. So after the HYROX, another kilometre run, then into your favourite, which is the sled push. So what do you think? Where do people go wrong with the sled push?
Again, we obviously said that I think people get excited and they try to do full lengths and trying to really technically be a hero. Is take your breaks. The 5-second hold in the middle is not going to do anything. It might actually then save your legs a little bit of energy by the time you go for your next run. Don't try to be a hero and push, especially pro. I think with just the opens, and retrospect now, that would probably feel a lot really comfortable now that I've been pushing in training. I'm going over 200 just so I can get that training in for the sled push. But take your breaks. Obviously, don't sit there for long. Just get your breath back, get the oxygen back in your legs. And
so HYROX is famous for loads of judges being about. Is that what they call them at it? Judges, officials or whatever. Is there anything on the sled push that people regularly get pulled up on?
Yeah, they don't go past the line. So on each end, there's a section where the sled push has to be in. The front and or the back? The both that has to be. Both need to be in this. I think it's a meter. 2 lines there. A lot of people and some of the judges are they'll look. It can be a hairline. Yeah. Really, you can even question whether or not they're just looking at it from a different angle. Yeah. But they'll be like, no, you need to push it. Yeah, just make sure that it's fully in, no shadow of a doubt. So then you don't have to, because a lot of people go around, get ready to push again, and then the judges no, go, and then they have to go back, push a little bit. That's 5-10 seconds of
psychologically as well. If you're knackered and you've got some person going no, get back. It's very hard to. It's very easy to lose the temper with that sort of stuff. So after that sled push, your legs will be burning. Yep. Yeah. So do you anticipate or do you accept that your next kilometre is going to be slower than the rest of the 8 kilometres that you're doing?
Yeah, so it should be. Obviously, our goal is to try keep the pace, and that's where the training now comes in, to train for that. Most of the time, you're going to maybe have 10, 15 seconds added onto what your last kilometre was, just because of your legs feeling a little bit, your strides become a little bit, shortened in the first half of the run. But then eventually your legs can open up again once you start running. Okay, so
you think you should try and aim for a consistent time in between exercises rather than going right after HYROX I'll feel okay, so I'm going to go for a 4-minute kilometre. After the sled push I'm going to do 6 because
so just keep your pace. Make sure that you know what each run you want to achieve. And look at your time. A lot of people have different ways in which they can track it. I just look at my time as soon as I go on the out arch. look at my time and I try to do the math of each round.
Okay, burpee broad jump. So I think these look absolutely horrific. So when you're saying sled push and all the rest of it, interestingly, you were saying you came fourth in these out of the whole.
Like in the pro division, in Glasgow,
Which is quite an achievement, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I probably could have gone faster. If I knew I was that close to like the first place, then I would have done it. But that's a lot of people, I came first there. But it just proves that, because I've stemmed from doing a lot of burpees in my lifetime, whether it be sprawling because of wrestling, just going up, down movement. Whereas even with my gym in South Africa, a lot of my training sessions, I did like 3 sessions a week that was all body weight. There's not a lot of body weight exercises that you can do, but there's a lot of burpees that can be done. So I think I've just been, the actual movement is so habitual now. Like I'm comfortable going up and down quick.
Yeah. So where is time lost and gained within them?
Or like in terms of the length?
No, just the exercise.
Everyone has a different method now to doing the burpee broad jumps. The step-up method. A lot of people do the step-up method. Again, it's just stopping that exertion.
So
when you go down, and then if you try to get both legs up, you're going to have to like try to do a push-up, apply a push-up almost, to then get your feet up. A lot of people are just going down, do a push-up, leg up, jump. Okay. I don't do that. I'll just go straight into the jump method.
Okay, so on that course, it's split into squares, isn't it?
Yeah.
And do you have to clear the next square with the jump?
No. You can stop just before or after, but you have to put your hands then where your feet land, or a forearm away from where that was.
Right, okay.
So you can't just jump forward. I think it's like so I'd say about 10 centimeters in front of your toes, your hands need to land.
Right, so that's what the boxes are for?
Yeah. Right. Just so people, they can visibly see, because, I mean, if there's no lines, can I really say that you put your hands too far forward? At least with the lines, the judges can actually see quite easily.
I guess because you could reach away forward and steal some space.
No, but your feet were there, but how did your hands end up there?
Okay, that makes sense now. And again, judges walking about, watching you, what's the things that they're looking for?
They're looking especially for that hand.
Okay.
Because a lot of people dive forward.
And they pull you back?
Yeah, they'll tell you to do another burpee. Chest down to the ground. A lot of people do like a downward dog, like not a downward dog, like an arch.
Yeah.
And they don't actually put their chest down to the ground.
So your chest has to
touch the floor,
touch the floor. And do you try and do that in one go, burpee broad jumps?
I tend to try to, because it's 80 meters, so it's 2 lengths of 40 meters. Right. I tend to try to do the 40 meters straight. I get in a nice rhythm, break at the end of the first 40 meters, because you have to go get your feet over the last line, and then there's like a walk area before you turn, and then you have to do the other 40 meters. So I tend to try to just catch my breath back and go again.
So you're halfway now in the exercises. For someone who's doing it for the first time, I guess halfway can feel like a mountain to climb. You might think you can't go on, you can't go further. Mentally, what advice would you give someone who's getting to halfway and can't see themselves finishing? Yeah,
so I use the same methodology in my training sessions. If a training session's hard, personally and for my clients, I always tell them to imagine a mountain. You've climbed up that mountain. The hardest part is done, which technically it is, because every run that you do from now,
you're going back
every exercise, you're going back down the mountain closer to the finish line. So I always just tend to use that focus as like, hey, I've at the top, everything I do now, it's getting me closer to the finish line. Easy work.
Yeah.
Light work, baby.
And that's a good way to look at it. I guess one thing that can help as well is, rather than going, right, I'm going to quit, say, well, I'm just going to do one more run.
Yeah.
I'm just going to do
one exercise closer to the finish line.
Because very often with anything in life, if you look at the end goal, it can seem daunting. But you're saying, I've got one run to do.
Yep.
Let's do that.
Look, break it down. Yeah. Small goals are more effective than having a big goal inside with no small goals to actually get there.
Yeah. Okay. So now, after the broad jumps, we're on to the rowing.
Yeah.
Is that is that one of the ones of the exercises where you probably can go a bit harder to
No,
recover? No,
probably not. No, it feels, it's, you think rowing is fine in training, and then you get after all 4 other exercises and 5 runs you would have done by then. That rowing machine just feels horrendous. Again, personal opinion. That row don't feel like the row that you do in your training sessions.
Yeah, for the
You're
warm-up.
just trying to get your legs are tired. You're trying to get the drive, trying to get that pull action.
I guess one of the things you need to be mindful of on the rowing machine is you could go really slowly on a rowing machine.
Yeah.
Probably more than any other exercise.
Yeah,
in
you can
terms
just
of,
try get you try get your breath back.
But you could end up losing minutes.
Yeah,
on
yeah.
it, couldn't
No,
you?
well, that's the thing is the guys, again, look at the Elite 50 and the top guys, they're doing it in under 4 minutes.
Is there any mistakes you need to be aware of for these pesky judges on the rowing machine? Do they look for a full range of motion, or is it only a distance?
You can literally do short little things.
Right.
Obviously, you're going to be there
All day.
So
Yeah.
the longer range of motion that you get, the longer
So
the fan has.
that's fine. Stand on it, sit on it, lie on it.
Well, you have to sit on it. You have to do what the rowing machine is.
Okay, then after that, you're on to the farmer's carry. So that's the bag on the back.
No, that's the lunges. Farmer's carry is the
Oh,
kettlebells.
sorry. Right,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And again,
You just chalk up
have they got chalk at the stations?
every station. Well, not every station. The stations that need it.
Mm-hmm.
Sled pull has chalk. Farmer's carry has chalk.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll have one grip.
And is that something you aim to do in one go, or put them down? Is it the same thing as the sled push?
That's the objective. That is the plan of action. Again, that's your 5th, 6th exercise.
Yeah, 6.
So you're trying to get through it. Obviously, the faster you do it, which less breaks. Again, putting it down, picking it up, extra exertion. So you ideally trying to finish it in one go.
Is that a kilometre again?
No. So that's only 200 meters, if I'm not
200 metres.
mistaken. Yeah.
Okay. And again, are you trying to run with these
Yeah,
things?
you're trying to jog. You're trying to do it as fast as possible.
Okay.
Walking is just going to, again, you're holding it for longer.
Uh-huh.
You're trying to get that
And what weight are these?
30. It's pros 32s, just opens 24 for the guys.
Okay. Yeah, so they're still heavy.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Is there any mistakes that the officials will pull you up on for them?
Nah, no.
No.
Probably it's basic. It's just picking up kettlebells and running.
And as long as you've got them in your hands
Yeah.
and moving,
Yeah,
you're
100%.
doing okay. Right, okay. So sandbag lunges,
Yes.
that looks another horrific one.
Yeah. Your legs are already feeling it. You know
Yeah.
you got the wall balls to do afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Something that you can probably do in training quite comfortably, but after you pushing the pace.
And once that bag goes on your shoulders, it's not allowed to touch the ground again, is it?
Yep, it has to stay up.
So what happens if you drop it halfway through?
That I actually don't know, to be honest.
Right, okay.
That I actually don't know. I
Have
don't
to
know
make
what
you go back to the start?
Yeah,
or,
yeah. Well,
uh-huh.
I'm guessing there is a repercussion to that.
Yeah.
Whether it be a just maybe a few meters back, which I'm guessing. I doubt if you're at the right at
Final
the end of
third.
the thing, they're telling you to go all the way back.
Yeah.
Might just be a bit of a pushback,
Okay.
or time. Or it might be like not a DQ, but it might just
A
be
penalty?
penalty time that gets added on.
Do they do that?
Yeah,
throughout the event?
they do that. So at the end of the race, you sometimes look up on, so it says finish, but then it'll have penalty time
10
added on.
seconds or
Yeah.
whatever. And what are the officials looking for that? Because there's quite a lot to that movement.
Knee has to touch the ground, the back leg. So obviously you step forward.
Mm-hmm.
Knee has to touch with the back leg, and you have to lock your knees and hips up. So you can't almost be in a crouching position the whole time.
Like
You
a
have to
wrestling
lock-
crawl
You
type
have
of
to
thing.
lock your limbs up.
Right, okay. Then last but not least, after your that's the second last run, isn't it?
No, that's after lunges is your last run.
After lunges, so you actually finish on the wall balls?
Yeah.
Right,
And then
okay.
the wall balls is right by the finish line. That's why you see the people do their last wall ball and then just sprint over the finish line.
Okay, so again, what are the officials looking for there? Your bum's got to be below your knees, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and hit your target.
Yeah, it has to be the target.
What recommendation do you give to someone? Because some of these calls in the past, you hear people moaning that whatever judge they've got standing behind them has been overly fussy. I
know what
guess
it is?
you've just got to ignore it. There's
Yeah.
no point in arguing. There's no point in...
And you can say what you want about it. They're just doing their job.
Yeah.
And it's quite visible if your bum isn't going underneath your knee, like, past your knees.
Yeah.
It's very visible. So if I just literally, my judge, I just shouts no rep, okay. I don't even look back. I'm just like, all right, geez.
Yeah. But I guess if you're really struggling, that no rep could seem like a big deal.
Oh no, 100. Well, no, I was feeling it.
Yeah.
But you also just don't have the energy to be like, because you can't argue. What you gonna argue? You're just gonna waste time.
Yeah.
They saying no rep, it's no rep.
Yeah, I have to move on.
Yeah.
I've heard people saying that they struggle with the kind of changing height of that one, especially at the end of the race.
Yeah.
I knew one person who almost fainted at it because they were kind
The
of
up down,
and down.
yeah. Just that motion.
Is there any way that you can get ready for that, or in terms of the up down motion, other than just do it a lot?
You have to do it a lot. If your
When you're
body's
knackered
not, yeah,
as well.
yeah. And if your body's not used to it, again, your body only reacts to certain things if it's not used to. Obviously, there's other aspects. If you maybe were feeling sick of the day, there's things that obviously we can't calculate, but things that we can calculate, just make sure that you're prepared. If I know I might be feeling sick, well, you better train it.
Yeah, with that. And what particular tips for that? Because obviously there's loads of different ways you can throw that ball. You can push it, you can catch it. So.
Just try to keep the ball as high as possible. Because when you catch it, you don't want to like bring it here, because now that's that movement that you have to do, and then it's that movement. Whereas if you just try to catch it and then throw it up, there's only that motion over there. So working with mobility in your hips, front squat's quite a good one because it's trying to keep your spine nice and straight. Whereas the back squat, sometimes people, drop their chest. And if you drop your chest every single time you do a wall ball, you're gonna exert too much energy. So then cross the line, you're finished. Lying on the floor and catch your breath, is that the... Oh, no, it just depends. It really just depends on, the output that you did. Obviously, if you're going all out for an hour 10, hour 20, and you're really giving everything you got, your legs are probably going to want an out break afterwards. So, yeah, you can...
Yeah. And what about, I guess this just comes down to individual stubbornness. If you feel an injury when you're one exercise in, two exercises in, at the final exercise, I guess it's personal preference. Do you want to push through that injury and perhaps injure yourself worse? Yeah. Or do you stop and then figure out the injury wasn't as bad? That's always the mental battle that goes on with these things, isn't it?
I think that's all on how serious are you taking the race. For me, if I feel something niggle and I've trained a certain way for it, I'm just going to try. That's, again, mentality. Just try to push through it and then deal with it afterwards.
Yeah, but obviously if something snaps or something
like that. 100%. No, but also imagine if you slow down and then you go maybe see a physio, you go see a doctor. It's like, no, it was just a little. You're like, oh.
I quit.
Yeah.
So you've also done the pairs as well.
Yeah, that was my first ever one.
You and Colin did it. So we looked at the lens pretty much all the way through that of doing a solo. So what advice would you give a new pair doing this for the first time? So two pals doing it, you've never done it before. What advice would you give the new people to pairs?
Obviously the runs, just make sure you guys are pacing right together, and that's, again, within your training.
Do you need to finish the runs at the same time? Can somebody bomb ahead and start an exercise? No,
you have to be together.
Right, okay.
So that's why your pace has to be the same. So focus on that even in in your training. Make sure that you guys are pacing at the right pace. And then just depending on who's maybe feeling fresher. And it becomes
talk all the way through.
Talk to each, communicate. Hey, I'm feeling tired. Can you start this one and then I'll finish it? Vice versa. Go along. Don't overcomplicate the exercises. What I mean by that, don't do more meters than what you have to. Do like on the ski erg, do 200 or 150 at a time. Keep your energy stored. So that's what Colin and I, we remember HYROX Glasgow, when we did it 2 years ago, was quite new still. No one really knew about it. We certainly didn't know about it. So when we got on the ski erg, we were like, okay, 500. and we were going all out for it. And then that run after the ski, we were like, okay, Jesus, is this what HYROX is? And then that run felt horrible. When we got to the sled as well, we were like, Jesus, this is heavy. So again, it's all, everything that I'm saying is experience, but also then studying and learning things and trying to figure out through the concepts of what my business is, which is the gym, which is training, is focusing on what energy systems are getting used, how to better it, focusing on strength where strength needs to be done.
Yeah.
And just then mulling it all together and really and complementing each thing and putting it together to make it work to the best ability.
Could one person do all the exercises? Is that allowed?
Yeah.
So somebody could just come
Someone
and
can
run
come
with
in
you?
and, yep.
Quite fancy that.
Yeah. Yeah. You're going to do HYROX now, aren't you?
Yeah. Quite fancy that. I might do it with you next year and just run slowly behind you. Yeah. So what do you, one last major tip, if you could give everyone listening one piece of advice for HYROX, what is that piece of advice?
Have fun. That is it. Have fun. Even for myself, obviously I'm trying to take it extremely serious, and I am.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not it happens at this event or not, I am taking it seriously. I've trained, I'm preparing correctly. But if you don't have fun doing anything, what's the point of doing it? So no matter what pressure you're putting on yourself, enjoy it, because it is. Like, I know I actually had a better time in Glasgow because I never put that pressure on myself. But now what I want to do is put that pressure on myself, but also take away that fun aspect of it. Standing inside the start area, they're playing Greatest Showman, which is like one of my favorite movies. They're playing a song from there. You know, I'm a musical guy.
You love a musical.
I feel like I'm ready to dance, you know. But just taking it all in. Be more engaged. Like, even though I'm going to take it more seriously, I still want to engage.
Yeah.
Still want to engage with people that are there to support me and have a little bit of fun with it.
Yeah, excellent. If you've done HYROX in the past and you're now going for the pro, the big difference for the pro is just the weights, isn't it? Yeah. So again, I guess the only advice for that is train with the weights that you're going to be.
Yeah, it's exactly the same, but just the weights are more. So what do I have to do is maybe up my strength training within my program.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to put you in the spot.
Okay.
What's going to be your finish time?
Hey, you're clever, hey, Danny. I have to say this. I have to be careful here.
Yeah.
2 hours. No, I'm joking. No, I'm going to try to go as close to the 1 hour mark as possible.
Do you think you could get under it?
That's the objective. Again, confidence-wise, I mean, I always bet on myself. I think through my fighting career, through everything that I've done in my life, I always bet on myself. Mm-hmm. That's, if you look at my life and what I've done, I've always just thrown myself in the deep end because I have that self-belief in myself. And it comes through the hard work and discipline that I put into leading up to anything. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, obviously, I'm going to try push for that sub 1 hour.
So you're knocking 17 minutes off your last go?
You see, so I mean, hey, it's going to be a good story if I can try to do that.
Yes.
Knock off 17 minutes, which is seemingly impossible. But with that being said, like, I'm putting in the work. The only way you can actually know is by doing the events at the events. You can do as many sims as you want. The events is different.
Yeah.
The events is different to your everyday sim. The vibe, your adrenaline, your heart rate's a bit high. Everything's different. So you can prepare as much as you want. There is going to be a little bit of difference on the day.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just going to come down to how I'm feeling. Am I?
Well, I look forward to your 156 or something like that.
156.
No, sorry, 56, sorry.
Thank you, Daniel.
156.
Pressure's off me now, 156.
And we'll let everyone know how you get on. So, one thing, since we last saw you, you have opened your own gym.
Yeah.
So talk us through that experience. How did that come about?
I don't know. Sometimes it's still surreal to me, to be honest. And I sometimes even get emotional about it because like I've always said, and I eventually even want to be an advocate for that. Immigration's not easy. My family's all in South Africa, so I do miss every single one of my family members. I miss my old business, which was the gym. You know, you build relationships along the way. So when I moved over here, it was the unknown. I didn't know whether or not people would take my South African sarcasm. You know, we're in a game of service and relationships. So I'm, you know me, I'm a sarcastic person. You know, I'm obviously kind and you know, all of that.
Yeah, you're South African.
But yeah, exactly. But I am sarcastic. So I just never knew how people will accept me and all of that. Come 2 years down the line, or 3 years, last year, June, obviously built up a clientele. And I knew what I was capable of. Like I've said, I've always just taken the jump, discussed it with you. You definitely like my business mentor, yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, no, yeah. But I also find that as my superpowers is I know who I need to be asking the right questions to, and I'm confident and I trust with that because maybe they're seeing something that I might not at that very moment. So the time came, obviously, when I was figuring out if I was going to start my own gym, and yeah, just jumped on it. Ironic gym. Got the name from the meaning maker of peace, or aimed at peace. That's what ironic means. So I wanted it to be a gym that was peaceful, it was inviting. More so, and this is why I think a lot of people don't know why I chose the name ironic, is peace through violence. And I've always believed that with peace has to have some sort of violence with it, and it doesn't always have to end up in violence. But can you really be peaceful if you actually don't have the ability to be violent?
Yeah, how can you appreciate the light if there's never any dark?
Exactly. So, and I want to train that within the people. Obviously, my adults, they just come there for the fitness side of things, boxing, kickboxing. But my kids especially, I think that's where I probably got the name more so for, was the fact of I'm trying to build men, young females, if they come into people that understand that the world isn't all sunshines and rainbows. I'm going to quote Rocky here. It's a dark and lonely place. No, but it
There's
is.
worse things to quit.
No, you know
Rocky.
what I mean? Like that quote from Rocky when he's talking to his son. It is. The life isn't always good. So we're going to need to be able to defend ourselves, protect ourselves, have the confidence to take on any challenge. And it doesn't always have to be with our fists. Mm-hmm. It can be we're confident within ourselves, and we can deal with any obstacle that's ahead. So that's where I got the name from. And yeah, been going now nearly 6 months.
Yeah. So it was interesting for me. So obviously training with you and talking about the gym, you had a clear vision.
Yeah.
And you were always telling me about what you were going to do. And I'm useless at visualising stuff.
Yeah,
so, and it was amazing seeing it all come to life.
Yeah.
In terms of you're talking about the way you wanted the lights, the bags, the mats.
Yeah.
And
I think even the colour scheme, you know what I mean? Like I wanted that like dark, but light, you know, that light at the top, but just the dark mats.
The yin and the yang.
Yeah. So, because the gym that I had in South Africa, obviously I bought that over. So I couldn't really, add all my flavour into it. Along the way, along the years, I added, that and all of that. But the shell was there. Whereas now I had full reign to actually see what I wanted, envision what I wanted, and then put it into fruition.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. So within the gym itself, you cater for mixed classes, don't you? So you do your PTing in there, what?
Yeah. So personal training, got quite a few now, 1-on-1s, 2-on-1s.
Yeah.
A lot of guys coming in to do 2-on-1 training with their friend in mixed martial arts, learning the art of mixed martial arts in a safe and fun environment. Especially when it's only like 2-on-1, they get like special treatment. They're getting the VIP treatment where it's just myself and then me training them. Then I've got the fitness classes. I now do the HYROX classes. I've got the kickboxing and boxing for the adults, which I do feel like, I think once it actually gets out there what it is, I think that's going to just absolutely fly, because it's fun. You're learning something, and whether or not if it's in your head for defending yourself or just fitness, they're both extremely important. Fitness and then the self-defense aspect. And then I've got my kids' MMA as well.
Excellent. So where is the gym?
It's in Castlemilk. Well, it's right by Rutherglen, but yeah, Castlemilk.
And if anyone wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way?
Instagram, Ironic Gym Glasgow. Facebook, Ironic Gym Glasgow.
Nice one. All right, so I'm sure we'll see you back on at some point.
Yeah,
so,
100%. After the HYROX, we can see.
to see if you hit that time. So good luck.
Thank you so much, Danny.
Nice one.
Appreciate it.